Today's game is bringing you, obviously, the Thousand Suns and this little bitty guy next to him, Grey Knights. That is my Paladin Ancient. He is my Warlord, first to the fray, the Gorium Scrolls. And then, of course, you have Magnus, and Magnus is needing no further introduction. It's going to be a fantastic game today. It's Thousand Suns with Tzeentch, basically. So it's going to be a really, really entertaining game. So we'll be back in a minute with the lists. Here we have Thousand Suns and Demons that have arrayed against the Grey Knights today. Actually, I'm really, really excited. I've never played against Magnus. I've never played against the Giant Bird. And I haven't played Thousand Suns at all either. So I'm really looking forward to this game. What I do know, and I can identify for you, is you got Ahriman on a disc, which makes him a demon. I think that's a funny little janky thing. You got a Demon Prince, and you've got this Terminator Sorcerer. These are the HQs for the battalion, right?
Yeah, the battalion of Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns Battalion, which includes a whole bunch of Zangors in the front, which Russell was just informing me are not demons. Had no idea. That's good and bad, I guess. Then it was 2 squads of 10 Rubric Marines.
Yes.
Then we moved to the Patrol. That is you say Chaos Undivided?
Yeah, it's a Chaos Undivided Patrol.
Essentially, yeah. So he's got the Impossible Robe and 3 squads of Nerdlings?
Yeah, 3 squads of 3 Nerdlings.
3 squads of 3. That'll be delicious fun, I suppose. He needs no more introduction. This is Magnus. He is all by himself in the Supreme Command. And then I'll let Russell fill in a couple of the details on these guys, because I know Terminator Sorcerer's got a cool Relic and Warlord trait, so he's +1 to cast and some other stuff.
Yes, so on the Terminator Sorcerer, he's like the souped-up Cult of Magic Sorcerer. He has Arcane Focus that gives him +1 to his cast. And he also has Devastating Sorcery, which gives +1 mortal wound on any mortal wounds that he puts out during the psychic phase.
Not excited about that.
And the Impossible Robe basically makes the Lord of Change a 3-up invuln, and with Magnus being the Warlord, he has 4 psychic abilities. So there's a lot of denies in here. Ahriman is 3 denies. Magnus is 3 denies. So there's a lot of denies in here. So I have a feeling we're going to do a lot of no casting game.
This is going to be one of these games where, like, if you could see the warp around us in the room, like, it would just be shredded. Sparks flying everywhere, and what do they call the force lightning stuff just happening and hitting all kinds of stuff. So, very cool list. This is going to be a hoot of a good time. We'll come back in a second with the Grey Knights list. All right, folks, here we are, Grey Knights. This is a battalion today, so I've got the clear, obvious, obnoxious things here to try to counter his ridiculousness over there. There's 2 Paladin squads. The guys up here that are more golden have silencers mixed in, and the guys that are more silver have the side cannons mixed in. They have astral aim. They have hammer hand. I don't know if we'll cover every single power, but it is there to be mentioned. These 2 back squads of Strike Marines have the Gate of Infinity, Vortex of Doom for this squad, and then we have a plethora of characters. So my Warlord, already mentioned, is the Paladin Ancient, and he has Sanctuary, the Agorium Scrolls, the Banner, good stuff right there, first to the fray. Librarian has my other relic, so he has the Sanctic Shard, because you don't really leave home without that. You got Brother Captain Stern. It is going to be Brother Captain Stern today as well, because, Tzeentch, and he's Captain Stern. That seems like the thing to do. I have Lord Drago in the back. He is not my Warlord. He is just going to be a big baddie and smash stuff. It'll be terrific. And I have my Apothecary, and he has his hammer, the Smashicary as I like to call them. And that's it. This is actually shy a few points of being 2,000 points, but hey, we're close. So that's the Grey Knights, and we are going to get this game started up in just a second. All right, folks, we almost forgot to actually show the deployment and the mission and all that stuff because we got excited. There's too many psychic things happening here. So as I'm going around the board, you might notice this is priority targets. We've moved targets. Excuse the whiplash on my gimbal there. This is my priority target. His is naturally the one that's surrounded by Magnus, Big Bird, Rubicon, Zangors, all that filth. Fun stuff over there. So we have the triangular deployment zones. So I've dropped Strike Squad, Captain Stern, Paladins over here. I put Paladin, Strike Squad, Librarian, and Apothecary over there. Deep Strike, I have Drago, the Ancient, and my Strike Squad with the Vortex of Doom. On his side, the Nurglings did a scoot. They actually were started out back here inside the deployment zone. They just moved up in advance to take this objective. These guys are sitting still. There's a squad of Nurglings back here as well behind this building. And then there's everything here. We have actually gone through the psychic phase as well because we sort of forgot to do this part. And Magnus and the Big Bird are -1 to hit. Magnus also has the, what other one? The 3-up invuln. They got the extra reroll, Gaze of Fate off, and the Rubicons that are in the front of the building here are -1 to hit. No, they're the +1 to hit, sorry. They got Prescience. +1. And then that ended his turn. There was no shooting to do, nothing else. So he scored. He has priority targets, engaged on all front, and assassinate. So he scored 2 on engage and 3 for priority targets because, what do you know? He holds his priority target. Shocking. And that would be the end of the deployment and turn 1 for the Thousand Suns. So we'll be back in a minute. I will have to do some more thinking than what he had to do. And we'll start up with the Grey Knights turn 1 in just a second. Okay, the Grey Knights turn 1 is ended. We're laughing at ourselves because off camera we did a little fub and we've recorded the end of turn 1 already and realized we were wrong. So we'll not talk about that. We cast a few spells over here. We got Hammerhand on the Paladins. We got Ethereal Manipulation, so rerolling failed hits. Then I spent command points for Fear of the Proven and Psychic Onslaught for the Silencers. We shot and killed 5 Rubicons, and then they failed morale. Huzzah! I then attempted to charge these Nurglings here in the center, and I failed my 9-inch charge twice. So I used a lot of command points this turn, and it was very disappointing, but that's okay. Now I'm stuck here with a big wall of Paladins that he has to deal with. Nurglings over here can shoot out there out of line of sight. It is what it is. Then over here, these guys, the Librarian cast a CP regen. We changed the tide. We started in the Smitey tide, but then there was nothing to smite at because of how I moved. So we just switched over to the tide of Shooty Shoot so I could get rid of Nurglings a little faster. And these guys over here with their Astral Aim, and then I did also spend Cybolt Ammunition, so the Storm Bolters were damaged too, mowed down the Nurglings that were here in the front. Just blip, deleted. So that's the end of the turn. I don't dominate because I failed a charge, and I didn't have enough bodies to get on more than 1 objective anyways right now, or more than 2. Really, failing the charge hurt. That was a bummer. But that's where we're at. So we're at the end of the Grey Knights turn 1. Here is our score sheet. So priority targets, we both scored, and he had engaged the last turn. You could ignore that 15 because that was, like I said, we've done turn 1 once already. So we're now ending turn 1 officially and about to go into the Thousand Suns turn 2, and his number of targets, priority target, whatever, objective markers held will be different, but I think he still gets the 15.
Yes.
So that actually does not change now that I think about it, because he's got 2, I only hold 1. So yeah, it's all good. You cannot ignore that. It's perfect. We'll be back in a second for the Thousand Suns turn 2. All right, folks, the Thousand Suns turn 2 was muy painful for me. It was very bad. Over here, just some shuffling, some moving around, getting bodies into position for all the smiting and all the psychic shenanigans in the world on my poor Paladins who failed their charge. I lost half of these guys in psychic, redonkulous smites, and whatever other spells and powers. And then I lost the other 4 to shooting from the Rubicons.
And it's called Infernal Fusillade.
Yeah, that, I was going to say, the stratagem was bonkers. Infernal Fusillade, and you did Veterans, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it just mowed them down. And those Infernal Bolters are no joke. So that was that. So I've got 1 guy left. I just paid for him to stay because I would like to have him. He has the hammer. He is the Paragon. And he was going to run away unless I rolled a 1. It just was going to happen. Then, silly me, if I had kept my Paladins here, this would not have happened. But the Zangors came down, rolled a 12. Yeah, it was cheeky. I couldn't do that apparently, but he could. Came in, they mulched up my Apothecary. They wounded the Librarian, so he's actually down to 3 wounds remaining. And lifted 4 of my 5 Strike Boys off the map and removed them. So that was kind of mean. Picked up some assassinate points. It is very interesting. He is now packed in quite a few points because he has engaged on all fronts. He has picked up 8 or another 5 for priority targets because he got this one out of my control and holds his own. So this is going to be a big uphill battle. So my turn 2, I can deep strike some things, but I don't think I can deep strike enough to matter a whole lot yet. So we're going to try, and I'm going to be as mean as I possibly can, but that was rough. That was a big one. So that being said, I'm going to end this, and we'll start Grey Knights, turn 2. Alrighty, folks. The turn is ended for the Grey Knights, turn 2. It's not gone very well yet. So what had happened was, over here when my paladins almost all died in one turn, that was bad. That caused me some problems, made me have to do a whole lot of thinking. This Paragon with a hammer, he made his charge, he wounded the big bird and smoked the mid bird, all this good stuff. Then he CP rerolled the failed wound, so I would have had him bracketed, but he CP'd it and got that wound back. So that was cheeky of him. Over here, Drago came down with the Ancient, and he made a charge into these Nurglings and was, able to kill all but one with 1 wound left. And stayed in combat there, so that's that. In here, the Strike Boy and the Librarian, they're dead. I didn't have enough gates to get anybody of there out of combat, so that's not helping me. That's my priority target. Over here, we did do Armored Resilience on the Paladins, and I jumped them over there, and they also have Astral Aim, so they got over there, and if I had been a tiny bit smarter, I would have left this guy's butt hanging out on that objective marker, and I forgot all about that, because their whole point was for them to come up here and charge, because they have the failed charge rerolls right here with the Ancient, and they still failed their charge. So, oops, if I had planned ahead, I would hold that objective as well. Would have made a big difference in the score. And back here, really all that happened was I killed the Rubric Marines that were back there. There were 3 left back there behind the Demon Prince. I killed them in shooting, and I shot the big bird. I think I might have done 1 wound that got through, and then he saved it. So that was pretty uneventful shooting. Yeah, so as you can see, poor decision making over there, messed up that one objective. It's a trick. Oh, I did one good thing that came out of this whole deal. My Librarian switched into the Super Smite Tide before he died. And with that, these guys, I used Dynamic Insertion, dropped them in, so he's touching and out of line of sight from most things. And we did a Smite, killed a base, and then we shot and killed the other 2 bases. So these guys ended up being helpful. Got me an objective, and then Drago nearly got another objective. So yeah, if I had stepped better with my Paladins, I would have 3 now, and I could have had domination. So, looky there. It is what it is. And that's it. So, at the end of my turn, I still haven't scored very many points. It's quite sad. And I'm getting closer. I'm trying to get closer to get some more points. And then that's going to be it. So, we'll be back in a second for Battle Round 3 coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, Battle Round 2 is over. It has been continuing to be rough for my poor Grey Knights. These guys are sitting still. That was good English right there. The Paladins were over here. They are no more because, believe it or not, they did not get entirely wiped out in the Psychic phase. I had denies at hand. Some denies happened. Some of the ones I probably should have didn't go off. Magnus did the full retinue of buffs and strengths, and he had Diabolical Strength and Glamour of Tzeentch and Weaver of Fates. Is that what it was?
Fates,
yeah, so
Death Hex on
and Death Hex on the Paladins. It was impressive. So he killed 10 Paladins. I only had 7 left, so they were all dead. I did use my Stratagem Masters of Combat, so they all hit back after or on death, and I did wound him. I took him down to 10 wounds, but he's still there, being rude. These guys did some shuffling. They did a lot of wounds and damage as far as just smites and a few buffing things. Mostly it was some scattered smites and stuff. So it was pretty good for them. And Magnus just was a boss. Came in and cleaned house. In here, Drago took 2 wounds from... Was it a smite? Oh, it was the shooting. You're right. Thank you. The Rubicons did some shooting and got 2 wounds through, and then he did his heroic intervention, killed the Nurgling base. So I actually hold 2 objectives, people. I'm very proud. And this is how I hold this other objective. Big Bird came down here, stomped in on my poor strike squad. I don't know why he thought that was necessary. Killed 2 of them, and then when they hit back, they actually did 6. No, they did no, it was exactly 6 wounds. Yeah, 2 went through, and I rolled 2d3 and took 6 off of him. So he's down to 5 wounds. So there's, I guess, a chance of getting rid of him. Very nice. And that is it. So we'll be back for my turn 3. Is this turn? Yeah, this is turn 3, right?
Yep, this started turn 3.
So, no, this is the bottom of turn 3, yeah. So we'll be back in a minute for my turn 3. I've got all this stuff. There's really a problem. I've run out of my big heavy things to deal with stuff, so I'm in a bit of a pickle. But I am going to do my darndest to claw some points back. I finally scored primaries. Very excited about that, or I will this turn. So that's something. But priority targets and domination have gone right out the window because my paladin bombs didn't bomb. My paladin bombs imploded in this game. Oh well. So we'll be back in just a minute. Well, we have tried valiantly with our Grey Knights, turn 3. These boys over here holding up against the Big Bird. We cast a smite. We took him down to 1 wound remaining. Wounded him 1 time in the attacks. And he saved it. That was rough. Rerolled the wounds because of Demon, and I got 1 through, and he saved it on a 3, which is what he needed. So that's that. I do still hold it, being objective secured, so that's a thing at least. I did as many psychic shenanigans as I could to try to get rid of Magnus and or reduce his output. So Drago came over, did a smite. He's basically 7-something inches away. Failed his charge. So I rolled a 6 and I had no command points because I cast a smite with them, which was denied against Magnus. And then I spent the command point for them to jump so that they could sit on this objective. So Drago could go over there and do what he did, and then it didn't matter. 2 of these guys were touching the cover here, so they got shot by Drago and by the strike squad, so I killed a few of them. I think they probably have a morale that we forgot about, potentially.
Yes. So
this guy, while he's counting those out, this guy advanced, did his smite, which was also denied. Then he did get armored resilience.
I lost 6, so I need a 1. All right.
Excellent.
So I'm going to lose a few, so...
When you lose 1, you're not down to half strength yet, so...
So that'll put me down to 9.
Yeah.
So I have 11, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11.
Yes.
So
help
3 more runs, so that the morale cost me 4.
Yeah. I'll take it. All right, so we remembered a rule. Good for us. Magnus is still sitting at 6. I actually successfully cast 3 different smites against him, and all of them went off successfully on either a 6 or a 7, which is really easy to deny when you get a +1 to deny.
But Armand decided he didn't want to deny.
Yeah, Ahriman chose not to deny my Sanctuary that I put on Drago. He chose not to deny the Armored Resilience. So yeah, it was kind of funny. There was some weird psychics in that one. I got a lot off. They failed to deny my Gate of Infinity, which also I think went off on a 6. So it was weird. He failed to deny a lot of things, but he did deny quite a few smites that would have hurt Magnus and put him down to like 2, I think. Because I did get Drago's smite went off, I think. Because that's what put him down to 6 wounds left. So there we go. And then I failed the charge. So that was that. I did score 10 for primary that turn. It was exciting because I hadn't done that yet this game. And nothing else. No more priority targets yet. No assassinate yet. I was so close. And that's all she wrote. So we'll be back in a second. We're going into battle round 4. The 1,000 Suns are still kicking my teeth in on the points, so I don't know that I can recover this one, but it's going to be fun to see who ends up on top at the end of this game. So we'll play this sucker out. We'll be back after battle round 4, 1,000 Suns, not battle round, turn 4 for the 1,000 Suns. Oh boy, turn 4 is ended. 1,000 Suns, we're both kind of shaking our heads, scratching our chins, wondering at how all that went, and I'm sure it's my fault to some degree, but the dice weren't nice either. So Magnus did what he had to do. Magnus is making me angry on this last turn. This last psychic phase, he really powered up. So Magnus did 2d6 smite against my brother captain, which of course I didn't deny. I tried, but I couldn't. So he did 12 mortal wounds to the captain. He had 6 to begin with. It was rough. Drago was the recipient of smite and something else, I think.
The Cult of Magic ability.
Oh, right. It was like their Infernal Gateway, but the Cult of Magic version of it.
Infernal Gateway.
Yeah, so he died to that. We couldn't deny anything. That was part of our problem. We didn't deny very well in this game. So Drago died to that. The extra nasty smite against them. Oh, we did deny one thing. We denied the healing on Magnus. Yes. Yay. Good for us. Didn't matter in the end. So that he rolled an 11 to cast the smite. Then he goes over and casts Infernal Gateway on these guys. And he rolls another 11. Yeah. I was like, ah! So he almost killed the Demon Prince. That was cute. That was the only good thing that came out of that. So he wipes the strike squad, takes the Demon Prince down to 2. And then over here, Mr. Big Bird.
Denied the smite.
I denied his smite. Then you cast the Bolt of Change thing.
Bolt of Change.
Yeah, and wiped him out because they only had the 1 deny. So he rolled. It was D3. I had 2 guys left, and he rolled a 3, or he rolled a 6. So he got 3 mortal wounds through. So that was it. We're done. And we've done the scoring. Hold your breath and prepare yourselves. I scored 23 points, including my paint score. Whereas the Thousand Suns today walked away with a whole 98 points. If he'd gotten one more, or the 2 engaged on all fronts, he only scored 2 twice. Otherwise, he would have had a perfect game. That was just rough. Back here, we didn't ever get into Ahriman, the Sorcerer, Terminator Sorcerer Armour. We didn't get into that other squad of rubrics. We did Whittle, I guess, on the Zangors, but it was crazy. I thought it would be a lot easier to score some points. I couldn't move very fast, which was weird. I don't even know that you denied Gate of Infinity. It just didn't end up doing a whole lot of good for me. The squads I moved, and we were laughing because we had the whole first turn debacle that they denied a Gate of Infinity over here with my paladins, and then we realized he wasn't in range to deny, so we went ahead and moved it, and we talked about it a little bit. So I had the paladin squad over here, and they failed to charge, and honestly, in retrospect, if I had not moved them, I think I would have changed the game a lot because they would have stayed back here, would have kept the Zangors out. But I would have moved them eventually. They would have been gated around sooner or later. That was crazy. We both expected it to be either a close game or for the Grey Knights to stomp on them with Psychic and, the +1s everywhere. Although, to be fair, I didn't realize how many of your characters could get the pluses to cast. So Magnus having the +2 to cast. Yes. Big Bird having...
The Lord of Change has +2.
The Lord of Change.
They both tier.
Right, and that goes away if you wound them, but... That ended up being a big deal, actually.
Armon has +1.
Yep, he had a +1. Your Sorcerer with the Relic.
+2 on his first cast and +1 on his. So I have a lot of modifiers.
Yeah. As well. Which, and so I've seen games with Thousand Suns where they didn't get the modifiers and it didn't go well for them. Grey Knights could stop stuff with their pluses on everything, but it didn't happen in this game. And this is what I've seen happen. In the games that I've seen with Grey Knights and Thousand Suns, the Thousand Suns either demolish the Grey Knights or the Grey Knights demolish the Thousand Suns. I don't think I've ever seen a game that was close between these two armies. And this is the first one I've ever tried to play, so I was tickled pink to get to play it. Yeah. So thank you, sir. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Didn't go well for me, but it was a good game. Loads of fun. So we'll be back in the near future with another Kitchen Table Wargaming Battle Report.